Last night we did have Thursday Night Football. It was billed to be not the best game, right? It was 49ers undefeated going against the lowly Arizona Cardinals. It was pretty entertaining, and it was closer than I think most people thought. The Arizona Cardinals did cover as a 10-point underdog, got it to 3 late. It was sort of what I expected. I thought there was going to be a backdoor cover type situation there. But Jimmy Garoppolo had what I think is his best game as a San Francisco 49er. 28 of 37 for over 300 yards, 4 touchdown passes. But even more so than that, if you watch some of the throws in the red zone, tight windows, I think he looks really in control, and his playing style, I'm curious to see if you agree with me, his throwing motion, the way he throws, the way he moves around a little bit, he reminds me of Tony Romo, which is a good thing. I think it's a really good comp, but that's kind of who he reminds me of as the quarterback of the 49ers.
Yeah, I don't really get into throwing styles. Like, you would know that more than me, Danny. I think he is a really interesting quarterback, though, because I've said before, I don't know if I'm ready to necessarily say he's the guy that if you don't have a really solid running game, and if you're not going to be committed to running the ball and you don't have a really, really good defense, that you can necessarily just give him the ball, a la, Aaron Rodgers or Pat Mahomes or some of these other guys. And it's not really a slight because that's a rare air of quarterback, but I don't know that he's in that. I do think he's really good, though. And, I heard some people arguing over like the whole game manager type of deal. I've always thought that that's what a quarterback's job was to do anyway. Like, if you don't have to sling it around 55 times and pull rabbits out of hats all night, and you can rely on a steady ground game and make timely plays as a quarterback and pull them out when you need to pull them out, that was your job description to begin with. So, I don't really love that people slight him like that, but I'm not so sure I'm ready to put him in that top tier of quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, and he has to earn it. I mean, it's kind of part of that process. Now, he's already earned his paycheck, right? He already had the break-the-bank contract that he had, but he does have to earn it. And I think it actually plays right into Richard Sherman's kind of philosophy, because after every single game, Richard Sherman keeps telling people, and by now you're undefeated. People are taking note of what the San Francisco 49ers are doing. But Richard Sherman's like, you guys keep telling us we're not that good. Keep telling us we haven't played anybody. Keep telling, like, all these criticisms, I think, are fueling this team, and they're responding to them, and they're coming out there playing as good as anybody else there. I did think last night was the game where he was asked to be a little bit more than the game manager, and he took advantage of that. They did make an effort to take away the run game and put more of the game on Garoppolo's shoulders, and I think he responded in a really good way. And you bring up an excellent point, because that term game manager is used as such a negative term sometimes, and it's not. Peyton Manning was the best game manager the game has ever seen. Like, is that negative? No. He was awesome. He was like a coach at the line of scrimmage. As a quarterback, you have to manage the game. You have to manage the play clock. You have to get in and out of the huddle. You have to know when you can throw it away. You have to know every situation that could unfold before your play, and that's the definition of a game manager. I think we use that term too negatively sometimes, but what you're talking about is I think the 49ers could still possibly be, I wouldn't put up there with the Saints just yet, and even the Packers, probably with Aaron Rodgers, you'd give them the slight edge over them in the NFC, but you could still win a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think that's kind of the definition of what you would want in your starting quarterback is, can we win a Super Bowl with him? And I think that answer is yes. I think I've seen enough to say that answer is yes. Now, that needs the help, needs all the other pieces to come together, but I think the answer is yes, you can win a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, which is exactly why they paid him that big money.
Sure, and look, we had this was probably 4 or 5 weeks ago when you had early in the season the undefeated teams, and you were asking who you trusted, right? And we were always going to trust the Patriots just because of what they've done. But the only team that statistically looked like they were for real, meaning, you had defensive numbers in the top, 25% of the league, and offensive numbers at the time, was San Francisco. But the jury was out. It was really early in the season. You've got more of a sample size now, Danny. That defense is legit, and it's real. They do make a commitment to running the ball. And Jimmy G is, like, some of the throws he made last night, even though and I'll still stick to that. Like, I don't know that he's Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, but he made some anticipatory throws, like, even if that's even a word. Like, he threw some balls where pressure was all over him. The running or the receiver wasn't clear of a defender yet, and he just put it out where you would expect the only person could get it would be the receiver. And to me, that is higher level type of stuff. And you pair that with the fact that they got him a real weapon in Emmanuel Sanders out there, and you've seen his touchdowns to wide receivers increase over the last, a game or two with a new weapon. I do think this team can win a Super Bowl.